My guest is Judy Murray. We're at the RBC Tennis Championships of Dallas, and she just got done giving a talk on Pink Day. And this talk made up of mostly women, and Judy has done a ton in terms of advancing the sport of tennis for women and in her native Scotland and in general. What did you try to leave them with this morning that they could take away from this?
I think a few things. It was nice to be able to share my story of how I got started in coaching, which was basically as a volunteer at our local club, when my kids were very small, and how I suppose I started growing things at the club just by teaching the kids how to play the game because I wasn't a coach, and then going through some qualifications and never thinking for 1 minute where it was going to lead to anything, and certainly not to a career in tennis or that my kids would become Grand Slam champions. But just, I suppose it's that whole thing of, you love your sport and it's not what you have, it's what you do with what you have. And actually we need a whole load more women involved in delivering our sport in order to attract and retain more girls in our sport. So actually, if it encourages a few of them to go and help out at the local club and get more kids playing, create more opportunities for the youngsters in their area, then and also it's just that whole thing of nothing is impossible.
You have heard of Judy's kids. They're Andy Murray and Jamie Murray. Andy has won Grand Slams in singles. Jamie has won them in doubles. One of the things that we did this morning was a little demonstration of some of the stuff you work on specifically for girls, though, and it's called Miss Hits. You probably saw the logo on Judy's jacket that she's wearing. Tell me a little bit about what that's about and how the balloons factor in, because I'm fascinated by the balloons.
Yeah, well, Miss Hits, it's a fun starter program for girls aged 5 to 8. Really aware that we need to make our sport as fun and engaging and stimulating and doable as we can at entry level, because first impressions are so important, and because tennis, like all of the traditional sports, we're competing with so many other things for kids' attention and time nowadays that if we don't create a really fun environment, they can easily find something else to do. So also aware that tennis is a difficult sport compared to some, and that most kids are coming into sports now without the physical skills that you need to be able to play sports. So the importance of having this fun starter program that develops a friendship group of the girls, because you know what girls are like. We all, if we stay in things, if our friends are doing them, we don't care if they're good at them or not good at them or what, we just want to be with our friends. So the friendship group for me is really important to create that at the start. But also, to help them to develop the physical skills that you need to be able to play the sport, which is all about building confidence through success. And that's really where the balloons came in, because the Miss Hits characters, there's 6 of them and they all represent a tennis shot. So they're animated characters, they're Faith forehand, Bella backhand, Valentina volley. They have their own app which teaches kids how to keep the score. It's a swipe game, so you're learning how to compete in a fun, modern way. Kids learn on screens nowadays with most things. So where the balloons come in is all about the confidence through the success. So balloons are big, they move slowly, they're brightly coloured, they're fun. So you can have your first rally with a balloon with your friend, and anybody can do it. So you start off with 1 balloon and then you add a second balloon, so you increase the challenge and the faster reactions and so forth. But the content of the course is perfectly good for boys as well, but it's what you put around the skills-based activities that creates a more girl environment, which helps to make it fun for girls and to keep them in the sport. So the dancing and the music and all that kind of thing, the animated characters, the cuddly toys, the pinks and purples, the sparkly things, it is about it's understanding the world according to little girls and making our sport fit into that.
And line calls, much easier with balloons. So speaking of girls, women, tennis has always been, if from Suzanne Longland to Althea Gibson, Billie Jean King, the Williams sisters, has been a force for women in sport. Tennis has been, in general, a good source of women being able to participate in sport. What are some of the key issues, though, that maybe you still see as being important to be addressed in terms of the way women are participating in tennis?
Well, I think that, in my country, we've lost 30% of the women and girls playing over the last 13 years. A big piece of research was done, and it was a real eye-opener, I think, for our governing body to realise how many we'd lost. And it wasn't just that it was the fault of tennis. It's actually that 70% of women in our country work now, so they have maybe more money, but they have less time. And also if they have less time, the things that they're doing that fit easily into that time, like running, the gym, exercise classes, dance and music. These have all become a much bigger part of women's lives, and sports like tennis are often perceived as difficult to do, difficult to access, time-consuming and expensive, and we have to smash that. You know, we have to create shorter bursts of activity. We have to make it easier for our sport, to make it more accessible, to make it more affordable, to make it more fun. Otherwise, you know, they're going to find something else to do. So I think for me, we are very fortunate in tennis, and have been for many years, that women's tennis has such a high profile, and that the opportunities for prize money and endorsements and media exposure for the women players is just as good as the guys. And there's hardly any sports that can actually say that. But I think it's further down the line. You know, most of the key decision makers in sport at whatever level are guys. 80% of our coaching workforce in most countries are guys. We need more balance, so we need more women involved in coaching and delivering. So my Miss Hits program, for example, is a perfect way to attract more women into starter tennis coaching, because it's non-technical and it's fun and it's working with little kids. So we can encourage club members, teachers, youth leaders, teenagers, to get involved in assisting the coaches with the delivery, and hopefully that builds us a bigger and stronger female workforce for the future.
Wonderful. All right, Judy, thank you for being here. Appreciate you being here in Dallas from Scotland with Judy Murray for the Fort Worth Weekly. I'm Rush Olson.